Back at the Builder World. This is going to be a Burrows Badgers Boat Build. Yeah, I know, I'm right in the middle of making a ash wastes biodome, experimental biodome thing gone wrong for Necromunda and 40k and whatever else. It's a Patreon build, but I'm kind of halfway through that, and that's great. It's down there. You might see clips of it as we go. But I've got other stuff to get on with, and one of the things that I've been itching to get on with is making a bunch of boats for Burrows and Badgers. I've got a couple of boats for Burrows and Badgers already. I wrote, of course, some time ago now, a series of rules called Barks and Beavers, which is an unofficial supplement for Burrows and Badgers. If you're a B&B player and you want to play with ships, I think my rules are the only ship rules that are around at the moment. Go check them out. They're available on the Facebook B&B group in the file section. They're there, Barks and Beavers. They're pretty cool. They work quite well. And come the autumn this year, I'm hoping that my B&B group, we're going to move the focus of our campaign from London, where we've been playing for some time now, out to Benfleet on the marshes and the rivers and things like that. And we're going to need ships, so I'm going to make a bunch of ships so people can use them. And I'm going to use Playmobil ships. I've used Playmobil ships before, bigger than this, for 40mm pirates, and I've somehow managed to acquire three of these toys. I am a big fan of Playmobil. When I was a kid, I had some really early Playmobil, and Playmobil has done all sorts of cool things. You might have seen my Necromunda Sump Enforcers headquarters, which of course is a great big Playmobil model. I've got a number of other Playmobil models that I'm going to use for different sci-fi projects, but this time I'm going to use ships. I'm using in particular this smaller pirate vessel that they've made. It's a very versatile thing. Brilliant piece of design, to be quite honest, from a toy point of view. The bottom part of the hull looks like this, and this one has been sold as a single masted vessel, which hasn't got a long prow, and has got a tiller rather than a steering wheel, which I really like. In fact, I'm going to keep this tiller on here, and it's made to be at this level. But what they've also done brilliantly he's added just these simple clip-on bits to make the forecastle and aft castle bigger and higher, and make the ship better from a model point of view, which is great because it means I can have essentially 3 ships the same size but all going to be different models. So I've got one that hasn't got either forecastle or aft castle. I've got one with forecastle and aft castle, and I've got one with an aft castle, but somehow it's missing the forecastle. The forecastle is the proper term for that. The forecastle. Now, in the past, I've used these models. I'm just trying to see if I've got any else. Up here, I've also got a Playmobil Viking longship that I've been working on for some time. This is going to be really, ideally, for 40mm Vikings, because it's just a perfect size. But I might even end up using this for Burrows and Badgers as well. You can see though, it's quite cool with this, is I have done what I normally do with Playmobil models, which is take out the plastic flooring and put in my own, made for balsa wood, cut to fit. It makes for a better looking model, and that's definitely what I'm going to do with these pirate type vessels. I'm going to start, as I said, with this lower one. I quite like the layout of the wooden decks inside, so what I'm actually going to do first of all is use these wooden decks as templates to cut out my balsa wood to go in to the model. In fact, in some cases I might even be just sticking balsa wood, trimming these down and sticking balsa wood straight onto it and carving planking in, because getting the shape to fit down the sides can be a right pain in the neck. In the past I would always have just peeled out all of these and adding my own balsa wood, but actually I'm thinking for speed and efficiency, I know this shape here fits perfectly into the ship, so it makes absolute sense in many ways to take off these hexagons, which I think are to hold the play person in place, cover that in balsa, put in my own planking, and that'll look pretty cool. So we're going to give it a go. This will also get added. I'll probably do what I've done here with the Viking vessel, which is put a hardboard base on it, and then I could put a little bit of water around the edge that'll work quite nicely too. It's quite a nice way of making the model look a little bit more watery, and we're going to see how we get on. So this is mostly going to be a work in progress with balsa for a pirate crew for B&B. In Burrows and Badgers, what do you mean you don't know what Burrows and Badgers is? Loads of people who are watching this channel know exactly what Burrows and Badgers is. Burrows and Badgers, if you don't know though, is my favourite skirmish tabletop wargame. Written by Michael Lovejoy of Oathsworn Miniatures, published by Osprey Games in the first instance. It's an absolutely terrific game that I have enjoyed for the last, I don't know now, 3 or 4 years. I have every figure in the range and they're all painted. That's never happened to me in any other gaming system. And I've had hours and hours and hours of delight and fun playing out of it. We have a well-established group of people I play with every other week in our Warbands of London campaign. It's a terrific game. If you haven't had a chance to ever play B&B, then you're missing out. It's played all over the world now. It's a hugely popular game. Well, it should be a hugely popular game, still quite niche. The figure range is charming, the people involved are fantastic. Go check out oathswornminiatures.co.uk and find out about all there, or go and join the Facebook group, the Burrows and Badgers Facebook group, or come and check out the Warbands of London Facebook group on Facebook, funnily enough, which is the campaign page for my gaming group. Any of those will give you an idea of what the game is like and about. It's just absolutely brilliant. Michael Lovejoy not only wrote the rules, he also makes figures. He's done a jolly good job too. Thanks, Mike. And in many cases, there are loads of pirates. And that's what we're going to be using with these ships. So let's get on with cutting out a load of balsa wood. Over here. Alright, so there's my ship. And there are the 4 bits that I'm going to use. You'll note that this model didn't come with a foredeck, green one. So I've stolen one of the ones out of one of the other models, but that's fine. These are the bits that I'm going to need to make. If I can make all of those, we're laughing. It's quite cool because this means I know where the mast step has got to be. For example, if I just use these bits and I can work in. There are a few bits I'm going to cut off first of all, like these hexagons here, which the figure's feet slot over, and here we've got some unnecessary bits as well, which again their hands kind of can hold on to. So I'm going to cut those out, and then I'm going to make balsa to fit onto these pieces. I just think that's going to be by far the easiest way of doing this. This vessel then is going to be a fairly small, well, it's not true, it's the largest decent sized vessel, which is kind of important for playing Burrows and Badgers, because apart from anything else, the figure bases can be quite big. Burrows and Badgers figures can have anything up to 50mm wide bases, which is pretty awkward. The nice thing about having decks like this means they are mostly going to be clear of clutter. The important thing about making this and bearing this in mind when you're making ships for war games is you're not making a full-on realistic model. It's far more important to make a model that is playable than it is to have the right number of sails, all the rigging in the right place and all that kind of thing, in my opinion. What I'm after is a thing that looks great on the table aesthetically, definitely is a ship, but also enhances play rather than kind of like prevents it. So from that point of view, this is going to be a good one to start with. This has got nice flat areas. In all cases, I'm going to be able to get a decent number of figures on this vessel or cargo or whatever else. You'll have a central mast, rigging down to the fore. I might add a bit of a bowsprit because that will give me more scope for the sail, and that'll work quite nicely. So I've stuck them all back in now. I need to peel them out and find some balsa wood. This whole video could go wrong now if I haven't got enough balsa wood in my stash. Wish me luck. Right, so here first of all is my hardboard base I've cut out. I'm going to stick the boat down on that. I haven't got any filler to do the next bit with that, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. I don't need to worry about sticking to the base to do the next bit. Here are my 4 bits of decking. I've now cut the offending sticky out bits off, and I've now got some 1.5mm balsa wood, which I'm going to cut to shape. I'm going to stick on and cut around here, and then scribe planking into it to make the planks a bit smaller. Won't have these gaps between them. Going to woodify this boat. Hang on to your hats, kids. Of course, I need to find some yellow Yoo-hoo glue as well. Oh, stuffed if I know where that is. Knackers. Here we are. I've stuck the boat down using Yoo-hoo all-purpose onto this base. Soon, glue's nearly gone off. I'm going to texture it, add some water. I've then started to add balsa wood to the Playmobil ship's own decking, because that gives it the shape. It's always a pain in the bum getting the shape right, so what I'm actually doing with this is cutting it out and sticking it on. Then I know it'll fit and go back in alright. So I've done one piece so far. I'm just doing the second bit of deck. That's going to go in there. This bit sits in here. I'm going to have to cut a bit out of that bit there, but that'll sit all right there. This I've got to scribe with a biro the decking into it, because that always helps sell it. But doing all right. Then I'm going to do this bit and this bit. And actually, the first part then of the titivation of this boat, turning it into something suitable for Burrows and Badgers, would be kind of there, because what I'm trying to achieve is just to stop it looking like a plastic toy. Part of that will come with the paint job. I was thinking you could actually clad the whole thing in balsa if you wanted, but to be quite honest, the planking on here is pretty good, doesn't need it, so I'm not going to. So let's get the planking sorted out from that point of view and then see where we are. Gonna cut this bit out next, so this bit will fit in it. Okay, so that's cut the fit. I think I will put planking across here, because that's going to look a bit weird. I can actually get that. I'll get more texture to paint there, and I might do the same going towards the back of the boat. I'll have to see what the other decks, when they're covered in wood, look like. Okay, so if you haven't seen my stuff before, this is one of the reasons why I love working with balsa wood. This has got quite a nice kind of like wood kind of effect on it, but the planks are very big and they're big gaps. And the nice thing about balsa wood is it is actually wood, and I'm using a biro here to scribe into it, make small planks. Sometimes I'm doing freehand, but with this I'm using a rule. I'm making them slightly different sizes. But the cool thing is, balsa is usually, although interestingly it's a hardwood, it's usually soft enough for you to be able to scribe directly into it. And that means it's a good texture when you want to paint it. And what I'll do is so these are the long planks I'm drawing in, and then although they're not particularly long planks, for a bit of added interest on the model, I'm going to draw some perpendicular planking in, shorten some of the planks. Don't have to do all of it on this, but that way there, it just makes it, again, more interesting to paint, a little pleasing to the eye. Some of them are full length, but then wherever I've got a perpendicular plank like that, I'm going to draw in some little nail heads, probably completely out of scale. If you had nails this big, B&B, they'd be like the stakes you stick for a vampire's heart, but it works really well from a painting texture point of view. Could also run nail heads all the way across here. That would work quite well. And the other end of the plank as well. Again, just give me a bit of interesting texture when it comes to painting. Anything you can add to the model to make your painting work easier, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Because I don't mind painting models, but when I've done the actual construction, I want to get them on the table. Right, I need to go back and do that now to this bit which I haven't done. Okay, so here's the deck of the ship, all done with balsa. Pretty neat, I quite like that, pleased with that. What I need to do now, I've even cut and made a hatch that's going to go here. I'll stick that in there. That's can I go in front of the mast into what there is the hold. Now, one thing that is missing from this, and if you've watched my ship builds before, you'll know that I like to have water right around the edge of the base. So I'm going to use Tetrion all-purpose filler, and I'm going to put water right around the base of the model. It's been so hot in England, and this is a brand new tube of Tetrion, that it's still effectively actually in the tube, so it's not going on very well. But we'll see how we go. I should be able to paint that and get a decent smooth surface out of it. So cut the lid off a little bit more, get a great big wide open hole. Yeah, let's add water to this model. Well, I've got to say this Tetrion is not great. I'm not enjoying working with this. I don't know if it's because it's crap all-purpose filler or because of the atmospherics, but it's a brand new tube, it hadn't been opened, it's not like it dried up. So what I'm doing is I'm using a brush with water on it, but actually what I'm probably going to do is use a brush and add some Mod Podge, smooth down the filler all around the base of the model so the joins neatly to the base of the model. Means I can be able to paint it nicely, have water all around it as opposed to it just sitting flush on the tabletop. Don't need to, I could have just left it, you know, not on a base, but I like my models to have bases, and gives a tiny little bit of extra opportunity for modelling, you know, water, paint, you know, sea effects, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to do. But look, it's all just a bit crap down the side here, it's all very dry. Yeah, it's come out of the tube like that, so just a brush, water reactivates it a little. Doesn't matter if we go up on the woodwork because that will just be water spraying along. Could even paint it with foam, I suppose. I can clean off the higher bits because it's water based. There we are. Let's see what that looks like in a minute or two. Then of course I will have to let this dry. I can sculpt it a little around the prow so it's bubbling away. Right, so while the water's drying, a lot of this model is kind of mostly done. I need to think of spars now, spars and sails. This is, I don't know, about 8mm balsa wood, which will actually sit quite nicely in the mast step on the toy. Unfortunately, I don't have the masts for it. I think I've got masts for other ships, which I tend to use because they can like fit. So I'm going to cut a mast. Not too huge, and I'm going to make paper sails, I think. The mast will be detachable, and this vessel could do with a bowsprit here as well, I think, if I can find something suitable. We'll have to see what I can work out. Now, the trick with making ship models, I think, is the fact that because it's an anthropomorphic fantasy game, it's not too crucial to have it super realistic. So I'm not aiming for tons and tons of rigging and super accurate kind of like fitting out of this vessel, because what I want to do more than anything else is keep the decks available for moving models around. Now This is a Wildcat from the Overstall Miniatures range. And by the time he's on there, he's on a 40mm base. The biggest creatures in the game are on 50mm bases. So there's enough room on board this vessel to get a decent number of figures. But right, so along with making the spars, mast and the like, I want to be careful. I don't want to add too much detail to this because I don't want it to clutter up the whole model. This is a Wildcat on a 40mm base, so he's a large beast. Massive beast have 50mm bases. At the minute, there's enough room on here for a reasonable number of figures. If I clutter it out with too much deck detail or rigging detail, that then makes it really difficult to play a game on. So I need to aim to keep it fairly clutter free. Okay, so I've cut and trimmed down the bowsprit, super glued that on, and back here mast in place as well. I'm going to have to probably make this, well, I'm going to have a line from here to here to have a jib on it of some description, and probably some gaff rigged sail as well. I'm going to make that bit up as I go along. Update. Ahsoka over here is coming up 9 months and eats paper. She is now probably 9 stone or more, and actually bigger than Chewy, who is coming up 14 months. Hello, Juju. Hello, Juju. Yes, he is, and he's about 8.5 stone, and oh, bright boy. Yes, he is. He's just been for a very long walk, so he's supposed to be tired. That's why he's wet too. He's been kind of like swimming. Well, so yes, they do this quite a lot, Newfies, when they're not Newfising or being goofy. Soaky. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. No. Did you say hello? Say hello, choo-choo. Okay, so we now have ship with dry filler, making the water around the base, with a bowsprit in place, decks painted, all sprayed black. Let's get this bad boy painted. I'll start by dry brushing all the wood on the decks, paint the tiller and the insides, then we'll do the top sides, then we'll finish with the water. This is a pretty straightforward kind of job, but it's quite nice. I'm hoping it's one of those ones that people are going to watch go, yeah, that's cool, we can do that. So yeah, it's going to be pretty neat. I need to work out I'm going to put a sail on this and that kind of thing, but apart from that, and any weapons maybe if possible, although that's not necessary. But I can rig it. I've got rigging points here, so let's paint it and see what happens. Right, so I've thanks dogs, dry brushed the decks up from Rhinox hide up to Morgoth's bone, corn red around the tops, sides, and now we're going to go black and then water around the bottoms, and a Morfang brown for everything else, which I'll highlight as well. So yeah, get in there. Right, so the paint job for this model is coming on. Red bits, black tarry bits, deck. Red bits need some highlights, and I've got a few bits to do, and haven't painted any water yet. That needs to go on. I'll do that blue green kind of like thing, like I normally do, and we'll gloss that with Mod Podge. But I wanted, while I haven't got wet paint all over the place, to think about rigging this vessel. Now this vessel has one mast and a bowsprit. These models didn't come with the Playmobil, original Playmobil masts and bowsprit, which is a bit of a pain. Oh, this one certainly didn't. So I've used a balsa mast. It's probably too tall. I have got one spar and a Playmobil sail that's been shot by cannonballs and is torn, which is quite good actually from a template point of view. So this is the sails. They're quite neat. Look, they pop on these kind of You've got holes and little poppers to sit on there, and they do actually have little retaining brackets that go on them as well, which are quite cool. They go on that and hold that on there. I don't want a sail that is full of damage like this, so I've got a piece of nice parchment-y paper that I'm going to use. Not quite the same shape, I'm not going to get it all on, but that's fine. But I'm going to use this as a template to make my sail for this model. The other thing is I do actually think that I've cut my mast a little too long. Put this on here, I'm going to have an awful lot of mast that I don't need. I might chop 2 or 3 inches off the mast there, and there'll be enough on here then to indicate that this model is a sailing ship. I find one of the interesting things about models like this and gaming like this is the fact that we often try to go with uber realistic. And we don't have to go with uber realistic. What I want is something that indicates sailing ship without being totally over the top. I don't need masses of rigging, it's just going to get in the way. I might put some rat lines up to the mast, but actually I want the mast to be able to pop out and be able to be put away, make the whole model easy to pack. The bowsprit on this I have stuck on permanently with super glue, but the rest of it I want to be able to take down and be able to pack away. Be easier that way. So I also want to be able to get figures moving freely around the model. So loads and loads of rigging over the top and accurate rigging is just not necessary for the kind of model that I'm looking for a game. So I'm going to have a go at remaking a sail, and then we're going to look at the problem with the fact that if this was a Playmobil mast, it would have a fitting to take this spar, which I suspect actually is not the right spar for anyway, but it hasn't, so I think I'm going to have to do something cunning with drilling and wire and that kind of stuff. But let's make the sail first and see what we get. Okay, so there's my rough sail shape. I marked on the spots that are going to be sitting on these spars here. I'm hoping they're equidistant because I've just realised I've done that the wrong way around. Yeah, they pretty much are. So I'm going to cut this out. Like I said, this is a little smaller than that original sail piece, but that's because the piece of paper I had was a little smaller. I reckon because I've got drawing lines all over it, apart from anything else, I'm probably going to have to paint this, but that's fine. And also have to cut out a bit to go around that bit there. No, right? This can go right across there, that's fine. Right, so make my holes. I also need to make, that'll be quite good. I'll use the little fitting off the original sail, I think, on the clip of the sail here, and that might be quite good from holding everything in place. Let's hope this works. I could probably even use these bits for some spare sails for jibs and the like, so I'm going to put them to one side. Okay, so I cut my sail out. That looks alright actually, I think. Certainly sail shaped, kind of saily coloured. I'm taking a razor to it. I'm probably going to do a sepia wash over the whole thing to wrinkle it up. Again, I could add loads and loads of rigging. My biggest problem now is attaching it to the mast. But I have a cunning plan. I'm going to decide where I want the mast to sit, where I want it to go, kind of there-ish. And then I think for this main one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole, pin vise hole through there, and then I'm going to put a load of wire through, thin wire, thus, and I'm going to wire that around the mast. What I'm then going to do, I think actually, is add a second wire to the bowsprit with just a simple hook that I can hook here through it, and then that way there I can add a jib as well. So I can have a couple of sails on it, but nothing too complicated. Let's have a fiddle, see what we can come up with. There is, of course, one problem, and that is this bit here. So I thought, hey, great, I'll just tie the wire around. It's in the middle of this spar. So what's it done? It's just kind of hung it like that, which is, I'm sure you'll agree, a bit crap. So I am definitely going to have to think about a way of adding another bit of wire, if nothing else, down here at the end of this spot. You see my finger in there? Yeah. To attach it to the bowsprit to keep the sail kind of like in place. Otherwise it's going to look terrible from a model point of view. That was not the intention. Or alternatively, actually what I could do, which will work better. Changing my mind. This is what I like about doing this kind of thing. No, I'm not. What I'm going to do, because that looks shit. But I don't want, the problem is I don't want a thing attaching this to the bowsprit, because that will kind of like hold it in place. I'm going to get another piece of wire, rope, and I'm going to attach it from the top of the gaff here to the top of the mast here, and that way there it won't be able to tip down. I'm a genius. That'll do the job nicely. Okay, let's do that then. It's already got a hole there. All I have to do is stick a hole through there. In fact, I might even reduce it still. I could then, if I wanted, actually still have a rope going from here to here. I can do it with wire to start off with, just so it's easy, but I might end up replacing that with some kind of twine, because it will be aesthetically more pleasing as I go. Right now, the important thing is getting this boat done, so because I've got 2 more to do, so get it on the table. So yeah, definitely from here to here. I didn't use pin vise in the end. I just used a very sharp, pointy, spiky thing. Right, okay, let's do that. Okay, so with the addition of one bit of wire, the sail now sits in the right place. So it needs the mast, the spar needs a bit of paint, and the sail needs a bit of sepia, and the wiring is going to need a bit of kind of like rope paint colour. And then I'm going to finish that. And do you know what? This model is going to be about as good as it's going to get, I think, from a tabletop point of view. I was messing about thinking about having another piece of wire here and another sail in here, and which would be cool. I could have a jib, and I'm a yachtsman. I'm into sailing, that kind of thing. But do you know what? For gaming on the table point of view, it's just not necessary. What I want is enough room for various figures to be able to place on here, put maybe a bolt thrower on the front, and to be able to get on and be playing games on the tabletop as quick as I can. And to facilitate several other people doing it, I've got 2 or 3 other boats to do as well. So from that point of view, I need to get on. The sails aren't going to get in the way of the sailors. Even the tallest B&B figures aren't going to get in the way here. Plenty of room on the deck. I'm happy with that. So I need to get on with the final details from a painting point of view, which is what I'm going to do now. See you in a moment. This is alright, model finished then. Now, compared to a lot of what I do on this channel, this has been a really simple job. But I think that's fine. What I want to try and do is kind of like show some things that anybody could do, feel, yeah, totally I could do that, and want to improve your gaming experience, and I get on with playing. Sometimes my models take pigging ages, and the problem with that is the fact that I'm the kind of person who goes, oh, I can't play that game until I've made this or I made that. I want this autumn to be running a Benfield campaign for our B&B group, and for that I need a whole bunch of ships, and I want to be using our ship rules, and I want to have people playing, and it's kind of unreasonable to just kind of like spring that on the players without kind of going, oh look, I've got a bunch of ships you can use. So I want these ships to be on the table, so I want this to be fast and a quick thing to do. So compared to a lot of builds, like I said, this has been really straightforward, but it's still quite a pleasing kind of like result. What do we finish it off with? Well, here we are. We finished it off. The water was a simple Cantor blue and Cadian green mix, and has been made all watery by using gloss Mod Podge, which is really cool. It's a good way of getting a decent water effect. I'm happy with the sail. It's a very simple thing, but actually when I put figures on this in a minute, it will look pretty cool. It says sailing boat. I could add more. I could add rat lines up the sides. This toy definitely would have had those in the first place. I could add forestay and jibs and all sorts of other bits and pieces, but actually for the sake of gameplay and putting it on the table, it will look cool like this anyway, and then all that stuff isn't going to get in the way of the model. So from that point of view, I'm really pleased with this. So we'll do the sexy bit in a minute. I'll put some figures on it. You can check it out. If you think this has been a useful video, if you think this has been helpful for you rather than one of my long complicated builds, then please do make comments down below. Let me know what you think. If there's something I've missed out, if you'd like to see one of these ships done with more detail, more rigging, all that kind of stuff, then let me know about that. I contemplate doing that as well. If you haven't seen other B&B builds, go and check them out. I've got other B&B builds to be doing in the next little while. I want to be making the temple for that converted beaver that I did recently. That's a big model to come. And of course, I didn't make a video for this because the building itself is a 3D printed building. But this is going on the Benfield table. I made this island to go with it. Which is really nice. So from that point of view, this kind of thing is on there too. So if you want to see all of this, we will be doing some battle reports. And there are other battle reports to come too. So, yeah, having said all that, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember, please do comment down below, give me a like, and if you are one of my 5,000 plus subscribers, then please do click subscribe as well, which would be really, really cool. You can of course contribute to this channel in an even grander way if you like. You can sign up at patreon.com, in fact patreon.com/MagnaTheaBuilderWorlds, and you can become one of my patrons. If you do that, you get the opportunity to enter competition 3 times a year to see if you can win a piece of MagnaThea Builderworld scenery that I custom make for you. In fact, it's very, very, very soon that we're going to be doing the August competition. Watch out for this, patrons. That is going to be dropping into your inbox very, very soon indeed. So, having said all of that, please do make sure you come back and join MagnaThea Builderworlds in the future. Keep watching. What have we got coming up this autumn? We are certainly going to be building some ash waste models. We are certainly going to be making more B&B. The observant of you will have noticed actually that I am a different way round. The lighting here is different. In fact, I've moved workshops. Office and workshop has changed. That's why I've been a bit quiet recently. And I have sorted out a whole load of stuff. You'll probably notice. Check it out. Now, I'm a guy who for years said, oh, I don't really play workshop games these days. I play B&B, I play 40mm games. You know, I haven't had much cause to go to Games Workshop. And then actually, since the pandemic's kind of like occurred, this happened. That is quite a lot of workshop stuff, isn't it, really? Oh, that doesn't include Age of Sigmar Dominion either. And then add to that, this recent pile. That's quite a lot of Necromunda build, etc., ash waste and that kind of stuff to come, and then I don't really call it a pile of shame. There's quite a lot to be getting on with in there as well. So, it's going to be a busy autumn. I've got a lot of work to be doing. I've got TV programmes to make. I'm going to be in schools. I've also got a whole load of stuff to be building here on MagnaThea Builderworlds. So make sure you stick with me, people, because it's going to be interesting. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Oh, yeah, the sexy bit. I've got to get some B&B figures out. Bear with me.